Hey everybody, welcome back to Bonsai Tortoise. Today we're taking a tortoise out of quarantine and introducing it to an established group. So this enclosure is by no means an adequate enclosure for especially a long-term tortoise. But she's only been in quarantine. It's the winter time, so I don't have anywhere to put her outdoors where it would be a better quarantine situation. But it worked fine. She hates it. She paces. She digs in the corners constantly. But one of the reasons I know that everything's fine is that she eats well, she drinks, her weight is good, she looks fine. Had she had poor weight, or if she refused to eat, or if something else funky was going on, I would have found a way to get her in a different enclosure. But it works fine. She did okay. She seems ridiculously healthy. But it's important to quarantine your tortoises somehow, in some way, to make sure that they get what they need. This is just a plastic storage bin. It's not a very big bin. I keep this lid on here to give her a darker area. She has, the UVB and the heat lamp. Her water bowl is a little dry, but I haven't watered her down. These dry out every single day. She's got a rock there to bask, and no food bowl because she hasn't been fed today. But you can see her. She looks great, but she's got some growing to do. She's not yet mature, but she's going to go with the adults, assuming everything goes fine. So we'll introduce her today, and assuming everything goes fine with the adults, then that will be her new permanent home with the adults in a much better enclosure. All right, stay tuned. Okay, so here's the little one we were quarantining. Like I said, she's been in quarantine for a little over a month. Had I had a bigger space for her, I probably would have kept her in quarantine a little bit longer. But she hates it in there, so for obvious reasons. But she did great. She's eating great. She looks healthy. Her weight is good. Her eyes look great. I see no signs of any issues whatsoever with her. So we're going to put her in with the adult enclosure. Hopefully she'll be happier in here, and hopefully the other adults will treat her nice. So we'll find out. But if we have any issues, we'll just jump right in there and take care of it. But we'll put her in here. You can see our other adults back there, and we'll see what they do. A lot of times nothing happens, to be perfectly honest with you. But these are tortoises. They tend to move slowly and deliberately. But you always want to monitor what's going on with them, especially when you make any changes. You can see that one adult female there might come over to check her out. But she's going to be much happier in this enclosure. It's a lot bigger. It's got a lot more interest to it. It's got hides and all that, real hide, as opposed to just the little hide that I had for her. But you can see that adult female is turning away. She might come over and say hi, but we'll see. This one here is a female, right there. That's a male, right there. See that? No issues. For now, at least. There's a bit of a size difference. You can see. but I think they'll do just fine. Normally I don't like to mess with them a lot. Just let them do their own thing, let them settle in, especially when it's a new environment for them. Just let them do their own thing, let them settle in. Don't touch them for as long as you can possibly not touch them. You know, aside from, you know, regular health checks and all that stuff. I think she goes walking past that man. We'll see if he does anything. Nothing. And that's great. That's what you want to see. So far, so good. Now it's early, you know. We'll see what happens. I do have our little cameras set up in this enclosure. So if there aren't any issues or if there's any activity, I'll be able to see. It'll pop up on my phone and warn me. But you can see she's just moseying around, checking the place out. Now, had I put a full-grown adult male in this enclosure, we might have seen some issues. This male might have fought with him, or they might have fought each other. There might have been a little bit more interest. She's just checking the place out, sniffing around, seeing what's what. It really is great when you can introduce them to an environment that is much more stimulating and as natural as we can possibly make it, given our own circumstances where we live and how we keep our animals. This enclosure here is only 2 by 12. It's their winter enclosure. The enclosure that they'll go into when it warms up will be a much bigger, probably be about 12 by 12, 12 by 15. I haven't built it yet. We just acquired the Hermann's tortoises this year, so I haven't built their summer enclosures yet. But honestly, it'll only take me a couple hours to put that together for them, and it'll be good. So, like I said, you want to really monitor as best you can when you introduce a new animal to a group, just to make sure that there's not going to be any aggression issues or territorial issues or anything. I don't see anything. The one male we have is right here. He is checking her out a little bit, just looking at her, but there's not, I don't see any issues happening. I don't see any signs of any aggression. I don't see any signs of real interest. So she's right there in front of him. If he wanted to do anything, he would have, he has every opportunity to do so now. The other adult female, she went into her hide, so she's not here at the moment. There might be aggression issues with her or dominance issues. We'll find out. But again, I'll be here to monitor. You don't want to do this unless you have the time to sit there and just observe. Let them do their thing, let them walk around, let them see their new enclosure, let them meet their new companions or whatever you want to call them, and just give them the time and space to do it on their own terms. I mean, you should always quarantine, no matter where you get your animals, whether they're the most respected breeder that you've heard of or have dealt with, or they're your best friend, or any reason whatsoever. You should always quarantine them. And to be honest with you, if my best friend gave me a tortoise, I would quarantine that one as well before I introduce them to a new group. It's just a good practice, because if the new tortoise that you're putting in there is sick, has worms, or is compromised in any way, then you should be able to address that beforehand. I had her on cypress mulch in her quarantine enclosure. Here it's a mixture of natural hardwood mulch, potting soil, and sand. So she's got a really good substrate to dig in. She could dig in the quarantine enclosure a little bit, but this just gives her the opportunity just to be a more natural tortoise, to get comfortable, to find that right spot that she wants to just chill out in and do what she wants. So, you know, in the time that I've had her, she has not been able to really dig into a substrate and get that comfortable. Besides the thin layer, I had about 3 inches of cypress mulch in her enclosure before, so this is really great. So it's been about a week since we put this little girl in here, and she's doing great. Compared to her quarantine enclosure, this enclosure is a gazillion times better. I'm not sure if that's a technical term or not, but it is. It's a lot bigger. You can see it. You know, we purposely throw things like these sticks in here just to make it a little bit more interesting. She can dig in a more natural substrate. She's got a nice big hide. She's got other tortoises to interact with, but to be honest with you, they don't really do much interaction, which is par for the course for tortoises. So she seems to be doing great. She is exploring. She's nibbling at the weeds that grow up in this enclosure. She's eating great. I've seen her drinking. We monitor her on the her and the others on the Arlo cameras, yeah, I can't say anything else. I mean, she's doing phenomenal. She's getting along with the adults that are in here, the other adults that are in here. So we love keeping these guys. These are so much fun. Like I've said in previous videos, we just got Hermann's tortoises this year. We've had Redfoots and Greeks and for, God, over 10, 15 years. In the past, we had sulcatas and leopards. This past year, we let go of our sulcatas and leopards, and because we wanted to take things in a new direction. And these Hermann's tortoises are part of that plan. So we don't regret one day getting them. They're awesome. They're incredible. They're beautiful. But we have other juveniles in the house that we're growing out that over time will be introduced to this group, and one day we'll have a solid group. So no aggression, no issues. I'm happy. I think she's happy. She seems happy. She seems still relatively healthy. She's not just sitting in one spot. She's all over the enclosure. And like I said, she's eating and doing great, drinking, and all that fun stuff. So we will continue to monitor her because she is new still. But I wouldn't expect any issues. Not to say that won't happen. It could happen at any time you could have issues. That's why it's important to be responsible and just make sure you're keeping an eye on your tortoises at all times as much as you possibly can without disturbing them. Just watch them from afar, see what they're doing, see what activities they're getting into, if they're getting into any trouble, and if you need to intercede, then you're right there, you know how to do it. So thank you for watching, really appreciate it. We'll have more videos down the road, and we'll give updates on this little girl as time goes on. Bye.